Okay, hey, live from the Ram Cave. I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView. We're talking Rams, soft knocks versus hard knocks. Is the Rams draft class of 2021 really a bust? And remembering Punter, you might not remember this name, Ken Clark, all today on the May 26th, 2022 edition of RamView. I'm Joe Tarosian. Thank you so much for clicking on. I'd like to say thank you to David Riggs for signing on board. I love it when you guys sign on board. Yeah. Stroke my ego. Dave Mitchell, thank you so much for the clicks. All of you, thank you so much for the clicks as we talk Ram football in a period right now where the free agent period has just waned, right? There's nothing really not much left out there. It's like the carcasses of a dead army, and the vultures are coming in and picking up what's left. I think the only prize out there really left is OBJ, and we think we know where he's going to land. And so that part's over. The undrafted free agents have been signed, cut, re-signed, right? And then, of course, the draft has already taken place. The mock drafts, the speculation and everything. We've seen all those things. So we gin up issues on okay, Aaron Donald's going to retire, and we're going to do this, and Tutu Atwell's that and stuff. And so I get it. I think there's a lot to talk about with trying to gin up different things. Stuff comes out of the NFL every day. And one of the things that broke yesterday a little bit, not major news, was who are the victims of hard knocks going to be this season. And Detroit is going to do the preseason hard knocks, from what I gathered, yeah. And then the Arizona Cardinals, are going to do the mid-season hard knocks. And I just thought it was kind of funny that I understand why some teams do hard knocks. If you're America's team, quote unquote, the Cowboys, you understand why they do it, because Jerry Jones just really wants that media attention. You understand why the Rams did it when they first came to LA. I think it was 2016. I know they came to LA in 2016, but not only did they do hard knocks, but they also did what was it? All or Nothing. That was that other show. I think it's on Amazon. It's actually a pretty good show, and it's not bad. But those teams weren't going anywhere. And well, that team wasn't going anywhere. And I think it's fine for a team not going anywhere. I think preseason hard knocks for Detroit is great. I think it's really good as Dan Campbell. What he has to do now is all those, those 1 point last second losses. If he could translate them into wins, at least 3 of them, then, maybe they go 6-11. Maybe they go 7-10. Or maybe if Green Bay has a collapse, which Sports Karma says they probably should. I don't know if physical, actual reality says they should. The Vikings, we don't know where the Bears are at. And so the Lions could pick off a few wins this year and get back to respectability. That's going to be a big win for Dan Campbell and the bite him in the kneecaps Lions. And so it'll be interesting to see. I don't mind watching it. The Lions have some of the best uniforms in football. Again, I go back to them and the Vikings trading the advantage they had of playing in the old black and blue division, the old NFC Central, now the NFC North, is they had that outdoor feel. They had the snow. They had the elements that played to their advantage, and they've become largely irrelevant indoor. As I said, their ownership decided they wanted to host Super Bowls rather than play in Super Bowls. And that's why they moved indoors and they lost their advantage. This has really helped Green Bay, and it's obviously helped Chicago when teams have to come to their town and deal with the elements. So I look forward to seeing the Detroit one. The Cardinals, and I got a final thought about hard knocks here in a second. The Cardinals, I don't get. I just think I think it's ridiculous. If you're really competing, if you think you're going to compete in the NFC West, I think you don't want any distractions. I also think you don't want your quarterback exposed just yet, right? And of course, it's not like they're going to show anything, right? It's really, I don't know how to phrase this any other phrase than I used to use when I was sports writing, or, and I don't mean to be crass, but it's really just a suck job, right? It's just, let's make everybody look good. Let's not make anything look bad. And we'll create, edit into tension, like, oh, there's real tension here. Someone's yelling about wanting to win, and someone's yelling about, getting paid and all that, yada, 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 yada. And it really doesn't really amount to what's taking place. And we've seen Kyler Murray. We've seen him sulk. We've heard, where there's smoke, there is a little bit of fire. It doesn't have to be a big fire, but there's a little bit of fire. And do you really want your quarterback exposed to that? And also, I think, again, it's demonstrated. OTAs are not mandatory, okay? But in Kyler Murray's situation, he should be at OTAs leading his team. There's things that you don't have to do that you should do. So the Cardinals, to me, are opening themselves up for a lot of disaster, and I'm thrilled. I could be wrong, but this is the way it looks to me. And they really should consult the Colts, and because the Colts did the midseason Hard Knocks last year, and it'll be interesting to see what the Cardinals do with it, because the Colts collapsed. Remember the losses they had cost Carson Wentz his job. He's in DC now, playing for the Taxkins. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Cardinals do. And then overall, my opinion about Hard Knocks is not a real high one. I think when it first started, the first 10 years or so, I thought it was fantastic. I binged it. I couldn't gobble enough of it up. I go back looking for old episodes. I still go back to the first one with Brian Billick and bringing in former Arizona quarterback Ortie Jenkins in. And after a couple days, after it shows this whole thing where Jenkins drives cross country, gets there, he's getting farewells from his family. And he goes there and he just finds out while he was an excellent, good college quarterback, excellent athlete, he just didn't have the chops to play in the NFL. And I thought it was interesting that Billick says to him, he says, "Did you get your degree?" And Jenkins says no. And he said, "Well, you're going to want to do that." And by saying you're going to want to do that, Billick, the seasoned coach, the guy who's just coming off a Super Bowl, I mean, he knows bad quarterbacks. If you look at the 2000 Ravens, right? And it's the 2001 camp. And he basically just tells Jenkins, "Yeah, you want to get that. You want to get that degree. I mean, it's good to get the degree, but I viewed it as that's code for it. You're going to need another career." And so Hard Knocks, legit. People get cut. People get released. People get released, brought back, and released again, right? Or they're told they made the team, and a day later they find out they're getting cut. It was excellent in terms of showing what these players went through and what players who want to aspire for the NFL, what it should be, and giving the fans that, hey, man, when those guys celebrate on the field, they're not just celebrating the victory and the touchdown, but it's the idea that they still get to wear the uniform and helmets because it's such a competitive field. How many millions of people are in America? There are 32 starting quarterbacks, okay? How many millions of people in America? There are roughly maybe 90 quarterbacks in the NFL, if you count 3, right? 2 on the active roster, 1 on the reserve squad, right? I forget what it's called. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We used to call it the taxi squad. So you got 3 on your roster in the building. That's 96 out of how many millions of people in America? Tens of thousands of high schools and then colleges, and everybody wants this gig. And then to find out it's hard. And I think what Soft Knocks has become is just kind of a joke. And I joke about it. It's not Hard Knocks anymore. It's Soft Knocks. Nobody gets cut. They don't show anybody getting cut because they don't think, people need to see you at that moment. Hey, that's the gig. That's the show. And they've moved away from the premise of the show. And so I didn't watch last year. I haven't watched the last couple years because it's ridiculous. It's really stupid. And the premise of the show was to show what it takes to make the team. And you follow somebody. And now, if they want to kick a little more dough to the guy getting cut, hey, I'm down with that. Everyone gets 10 grand, and then the guy that gets cut on camera gets 20. Okay, I'm good with all that. But that's the show. The show is Hard Knocks, not Soft Knocks. Not, we really like you, Billy, and we're going to put you on the practice squad. Practice squad, not taxi squad. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm Joe Tarosian, and I write books and I write sports. I'm also a pastor of a small church in Burbank. I was a paid sports writer for 21 years. I still write sports for my website, joetarosian.com. And I write books. I've written some explicitly Christian novels, Sin Virus, which came out earlier this year. It's right here. There you go. It's right there. Got some good reviews. That's explicitly Christian, not sports. Okay. Christian Dystopia. Did I get that right? Okay, good. And then Tangent Dreams, which I wrote 6 years ago when I was still working at the Mid. And it actually is, like I said, having a second life. And so I appreciate all the support. High school football novel. And there's an indirect sequel that came out, shorter book called Temple City and the Company of the Ages. So if you want to check those out, they are on Amazon. They've received really good reviews. And if you do, bless me and honor me by purchasing a copy. If you can leave a review, that would be great. It doesn't even have to be 5-star. I'll settle for 3. So you can follow me at JoeT13B on Twitter, as my friend David Riggs just started doing. Thank you so much. We just want to say thank you to Dave Mitchell also for his support as well, and others. But you can follow me at JoeT13B on Twitter, same handle on Instagram, and all the other stuff is right below in the description box here on the video, and also on Spotify. You can follow us on Spotify. Have not modified from Spotify to iHeart to Apple yet, iTunes, just slowly building this process. The kid doesn't have a producer. Sorry. If you feel like being a producer, I'll record something and send it to you, and you can take care of it for me. All right. I'll give you the cut of the action, which is thank you. There's my cut. Thank you so much. All right. Commercial's over. One of the things that I've been hearing, and I like to watch and listen to different outlets. And as soon as one group talks about it, the other group talks about it. And it usually starts high above. And yesterday, I wasn't slamming Colin Cowherd, okay? Because I think Colin Cowherd kind of sets the tempo, and he creates a narrative, and everyone just kind of signs on. And I think some of it is they're in awe of somebody. Okay, ESPN's talking about it. We got to talk about it. Cowherd's talking about it. We got to talk about it. Outkick's talking about it. We got to talk about it, or something. And then the other thing is so they build off somebody else's opinion. They disregard what they're seeing. And it's good to hear other voices, but you still got to go with what your voice says. And then the other aspect of it is, and I hate to say it, there's a lot of laziness. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing going on, and there's always something going on. There's always, right? As we used to say, well, we often say in church, if you're bored in church, it's not you, it's God. It's not God, it's you. You're the problem. It's not God. How can an infinite God be boring? How can an infinite game like football ever be boring? If there's nothing to talk about, you can go look it up somewhere. If you go look at the history, go look at on this date, go look at breakdowns. I think it was Lance Carter. I'm trying to remember who it was on one of the platforms, said that they really enjoy the 11 personnel with Jordan Rodriguez and Rich Hammond on from The Athletic. I'll tell you one thing about Jordan Rodriguez. Woman works. She really works, and she does, as she says, nerd out. And the podcast they had a week ago on Cody Alexander and the philosophy of the defense and how it evolved and everything was just awesome. There are other people doing greater work. I think I got my own little niche. I ain't saying I'm better than anybody else, but you could always spot a work ethic, and Jordan Rodriguez has a work ethic. And I hope that comes across here, is that we make sure we take the time that if you're going to click on, you better get something. Just get a little bit, right? And so with all that said, one of the narratives kind of going around, I hear it on different podcasts and I see it in different places, is that the Rams draft class last year is a bust. 1 year. We're 1 year removed, and they're calling it a bust because, Tutu Atwell, Bobby Brown, Jacob Harris, Ernest Brown, Jake Funk, Chris Garrett, none of them really did anything significant on the field. Robert Shell, Ben Skoranek. The only one they like is Ernest Jones. And those guys were all rookies last year. They were all rookies. And so I decided to go back and I looked at the 2019 draft. Now, the 2019 draft, in retrospect, the Rams hit on 6 of 8. And 7 of the 8 are still with the team, okay? So the Rams draft class in 2019 was Taylor Rapp, Darrell Henderson, David Long, Bobby Evans, Greg Gaines, David Edwards, Nick Scott, and Dakota Allen. Now, all those names sound very, very familiar. Even Dakota Allen, linebacker, because he was the one that was on Last Chance U, I think its first season. He was a bounce back and went to Last Chance U in Mississippi and then came back with Texas Tech, made it to the roster. I think he's still bouncing around the NFL right now. I think he bounced over with Jacksonville, and I think he was with the Raiders. And so you even know his name. But that was in 2019. And really, right off the bat, who contributed in 2019? Taylor Rapp, okay? By 2020, it was David Edwards and then Darrell Henderson the last 2 years. That's pretty much it. David Long was under wraps. Bobby Evans still hasn't done anything. And then there was Greg Gaines and Nick Scott, right? And when did we get clicks out of David Long, Greg Gaines, and Nick Scott? At the end of their third year in 2021. Rams don't win a Super Bowl without those guys. But it was in their third year they clicked in. And now in their third year, going into their fourth year, this is the contract year for that draft class, we're finding out how great that draft class was. No number one. Taylor Rapp was number 61 overall. Darrell Henderson was 70. David Long, 79. Bobby Evans, 97. Greg Gaines, 134. David Edwards, 169. Nick Scott, 243. These are the overall selections. And so they were all taken. And then you're kind of waiting around, right? And then they're developing. Nick Scott has the long snap go off his thigh in Indy last year. And the first thing I saw on the Twitter things was cut Nick Scott, right? Half the fan base, I'll put it this way, half the elite fan base doesn't even know David Edwards, okay? The grinded out blue collar fan base know David Edwards plays left guard. He's done an excellent job. And then, of course, Greg Gaines just continued to develop. He took Sebastian Joseph Day's job. That's why Sebastian Joseph Day had to walk across the stadium and go to a different locker room. So this was 3 years after the draft that this class really developed into something, okay? And so you can't declare the 2021 draft class a bust. You just can't. Not yet, okay? You could, it might, probably, maybe, but you can't. Rams did get clicks out of 3 players last year. Ernest Jones, absolutely, right? Absolutely. When the Bengals, was epitomized, the Bengals foolishly early in the game decide to go for it on fourth down at midfield and shorten the field, and Jones is the one that knocks down the pass. Ernest Jones, fantastic. Paired with Bobby Wagner this year. Really kind of exciting to see what's going to happen there. Robert Rochelle had moved in the starting lineup. I think he started 4 or 5 games before getting banged up. He was supposed to be a project, but if you remember, Darius Williams was not playing well last year. David Long fell out of favor, and Rochelle was getting play time. Now, he wasn't great, but he was on the field until he got hurt. I think it was December he went on the DL or injured list or whatever we call it these days. And then everyone is mad at Ben Skoranek. Yeah, the tip pass in the Super Bowl didn't do Matthew Stafford any favors. But, after that tip passed, there were other moments where Stafford went to Skoranek, and Skoranek did make a couple catches. Also, Skoranek's contributions on special teams and as a blocker. Tyler Higbee goes down. No one realized how important Tyler Higbee goes down until you don't have his blocking anymore, right? Tyler Higbee goes down. Kendall Blanton goes down. Bryson Hopkins has to play. And Skoranek is playing significant minutes. For a 7th round, 249th overall pick, Skoranek is contributing. So right away, Skoranek never plays another down for the Rams. They hit on the 7th round, a 7th round pick contributing in the Super Bowl and on the Super Bowl run. That was a hit, okay? So Skoranek is not a bust for being for the 7th round. Robert Rochelle's on the field. Hardly to say he's a bust, and they're looking at him this year. It's going to be interesting to see. And then Ernest Jones, of course. Now, that leaves Tutu Atwell, Bobby Brown, Jacob Harris, Ernest Brown, the 4th, and Jake Funk. Bobby Brown got a couple of snaps last year. Jacob Harris went down early, and then Jake Funk, I think, tore his hamstring and missed the whole significant middle of the season. But again, Jake Funk to me looks like a special teams player. He's Chase Reynolds reincarnated, even has the same number 34. But we're going to see Ernest Brown, Jacob Harris, Bobby Brown, Tutu Atwell. I think you're going to see more Tutu Atwell this year. McVay is high on Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell could be the receiver that Deshaun Jackson was supposed to be when the season started last year. Rams had 3 starting receivers last year, if you remember. Kupp, Robert Woods, and Van Jefferson. And Deshaun Jackson was the 4th guy to come stretch the field, right? And I thought the Rams spotted him beautifully because the guy breaks down. Of course, his ego couldn't handle it, and he butchered his own chance to get a ring. And so open the door for OBJ, all is well. So if we come back this year, you've got Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, and OBJ, if he signs, which we think he will, won't be ready till midseason. So there's a role there for Tutu Atwell to be the burner that stretches the field and get in the rotation. So anxious to see that, and you shouldn't write him off. So Rams do like Bobby Brown. The Rams did not draft a DT. They signed one undrafted free agent, but they did not draft a DT, a defensive tackle. So it still tells you they have a kind of a soft spot there for Bobby Brown the 3rd. And then we're going to see about Jacob Harris and Ernest Brown and Jake Funk and Chris Garrett, right? Chris Garrett was number 252, 7th round overall. And we're looking at Justin Hollins, Terrell Lewis, and Chris Garrett right now on the outside, on the other edge. And so really ridiculous to label the 2021 draft a bust. As we head into the 2023 season, then you could start getting an idea of where it's at, right? Then you get an idea as we're in the 2023 season. Then we'll get an idea of how this draft class is progressing versus the 2019 class, which by 2021 was contributing to a Super Bowl title. So anyway, wanted to get that out of the way. And quick on this date in history before we wrap up as we hit the 20-minute mark. Born on this day in 1948 is former Rams punter Ken Clark. Now, you might not remember Ken Clark, but if you were a Ram fan in the 70s, you knew how woeful the punting was. Dave Chappell was really good up to about 72. And by about 73 and halfway through 74, he was cut. He fell apart, right? And so the Rams went through a whole journey, the quest to find another punter. Guys like Mike Burke, 37-yard average. Dwayne Carroll, 39-yard average. Rusty Jackson, 39. Rusty Jackson's biggest claim to fame is in the 76 playoff game against the Cowboys. He's the punter that ran out of the end zone and spiked the ball to give the Cowboys a safety and secure the Rams' 14-12 win. The Cowboys, he had a great, horribly slow release. Cowboys blocked his punts. He was just a disaster. But Rusty Jackson at LSU was gone. For 2 years, Glenn Walker out of USC, 1977-78. His average punt was 36 yards. Ugh. So by 1979, when the Rams went up into Canada and signed Ken Clark came for the Rams in 1979. He punted at 40.1. He actually went 40 yards, and 40 yards a punt was the standard in those days. And he only had that one season. He even completed 2 passes for the Rams. Kind of a prehistoric foreshadow of Johnny Hecker, right? But he threw 2 passes. He was a pretty good athlete, raised in Canada, born in England, spent 13 seasons in the CFL, played for Portland in the WFL. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2021, but he would have been 74 today. And I thought it was merit that he was the punter on the team that got over the top and went to the Super Bowl. And so we should remember Ken Clark. There is a Topps card out there of him, and I'll try to get it posted maybe later today. But yeah, so wanted to get that stuff out. Thank you so much for clicking on. And again, hit like and subscribe, leave comments. I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView, and we will see you mañana. Take care.